Hello, Sukaj.
Hey Steve, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Nice to
Hey,
finally talk to you.
nice to finally meet you as well. How's everything coming along?
Not too bad. I can't complain. I was just kind of thinking about it. Like the way I've been approaching it lately, it's kind of to kind of make an analogy of a marathon. I was kind of like scouting the course, looking at the entire 100 miles. That's kind of how I was treating the introductory weeks, going into logic games, logic reasoning, and the reading comprehension, seeing how you would approach it. So it's kind of like scouting the 100 miles. And now when I'm going to start taking the tests, it's like actually running the marathon. Now I'm in the marathon. Now it's time to, I already know the terrain. Now it's just time to like dig deep.
Sweet. Let's do it. So let's do it. So you have the course access, you have all the videos, you have the classes. So what else do you need right now? What's holding you back? Any challenges you're facing?
um, I think it's just, I kind of know where the weaknesses are. I just need to start taking the tests. I think I really need to work on causational reasoning and conditional reasoning for logic reasoning. Just because there's like it's too inconsistent for me. You know, some questions I'll get right, some I'll miss just because like easy conditional mistakes, causational mistakes. So I'm kind of just trying to drill that out, really work on that. So I think that will help my LR a lot. Reading comprehension, I'm still in the middle of like at the end of this week I'll be done, and then I'll be taking the test actually. So we'll see for that. Logic games, I just need to get my time down. I'm at the cusp. I need to like shave off 2 minutes. I know it's easier said than done, but I'm almost there. So I think logic games is not the biggest problem that I have right now. It's just logical reasoning, in my opinion.
Okay, sure. So logical reasoning. Have you gone through the workshop videos in the course or attended
Yeah,
any of the classes?
yeah. That's why I just need to rewire my brain to be able to quickly pick up conditional and causational without me having to reread it 2 or 3 times and then writing it down because I know in the test that's going to take too much time. So I need to do the work right now. So where my brain is automatically, or it's easier for my brain to, when it sees it, draw it that way in my brain and diagram it that way. Just so
I hear
when
you.
test day actually comes, it's already there.
It sounds like, if I understand correctly, it sounds like your default approach is to write a lot down. Is that right?
Right
Writing
now,
things
yeah,
down.
yeah. Just because the way the logic is, my brain's not used to it. Especially having a year off because of COVID and like not actually studying for an entire year. Um, my brain just kind of jumbled, or it was, and so this studying is also kind of rewiring my brain.
I
So
hear you on that.
it's been good.
Yeah, I hear that. I mean, conditionality, definitely there is some formal logic in logical reasoning where diagramming can be useful,
Yeah,
but you're also mentioning causal a
yeah,
lot, which
yeah.
is much more informal.
Hmm.
So I'd encourage you think about like you're having a conversation with somebody. The vast
Yeah.
majority of questions on LR, you shouldn't be diagramming at all or writing
Hmm.
anything down. So I
Hmm.
would say try that approach where max 3 or 4 questions in a section, you're writing something down. The rest you're not. So almost like you have a quota where you
Okay.
can only go up to 4. After that, no more writing things down.
Okay. Another like I've been trying to work on it, but is oh whoops is necessary. I for some reason I just can't get it down. Necessary is a very difficult one for me. I don't know what it is.
You mean necessary assumption questions?
Yeah, necessary assumptions are very hard for me. I don't understand why. I've been trying to drill it, but it's like I'll get it down to the last two, and I'll always end up because it's just a coin flip for me. Then there's something wrong. It's just a coin flip, and I'll just guess wrong.
How are you
I
thinking about them? Like what are they asking for?
well, it's asking for what's necessary to make the conclusion valid. Mm. But I think in my mind, I'm kind of completing the argument for them. So some answer choices they're missing, but my brain will just I kind of do it subconsciously where it kind of just connects it, and that so the right answer kind of slips by my mind. So I'm between the question that's almost there and the actual proper question. The question that's or the answer that's almost there. I'll oftentimes pick that just because in the back my brain just automatically fills in the gap for me, which is a really bad problem because it's the wrong answer, and then I'll end up missing the right one just because my brain's already like filled it in the blank, essentially.
I hear you on that. So a couple things come to mind. One is that I think you said that you're thinking of it like you're completing the argument.
Hmm.
To me, that's much more sufficient assumption. So we could be looking at a necessary assumption versus sufficient assumption distinction that you got to make here. Where
Hmm.
necessary assumption, it is something the argument requires. So the first thing you said was good, but then it's very easy for our brains to try to do the other thing because we want to close gaps. We want
Yeah.
to complete the argument. We want to fix it.
Yeah.
But necessary assumption is not asking us to fix it. They're simply asking us for one of potentially many underlying assumptions the argument is making. So I would actually think of this like a must be true question. We're not looking for new information. We're looking for something that if it were not true, the argument falls apart. So the argument requires it to be true, but we're not looking for it to necessarily guarantee the argument 100%. And a lot of wrong answers play on this, where they'll put a tempting wrong answer choice as a sufficient assumption before the actual correct answer, which is going to be a lot more moderate.
Okay.
So during your review process, I would look for you to see what can you do to call out those moments where you're tempted to close it and solve the argument, like completing it when you really just need to look for something required.
Okay. For the other logical reasoning questions, they're not too bad, but it's not 100% most of the time. I think just because I don't have a like systemic structured approach to each question. So like for must be true, um, most strongly supported. I'm just kind of naturally good at those, so I don't have a structured like when I see it, I don't have a structured approach. I kind of just read it and answer the question. And for the most part, like 75% of the time, I'll get it right, but for the 25%, I'm missing it. Would you say go back and get a complete structured approach, or do you think it's just something little that's missing? And that's why I'm missing them.
I can't really say what's missing since this is our first time connecting,
Uh,
but no, but I can say that. I mean, it's fine though. I mean, you have the resources,
mhm.
and sometimes we can make questions more complicated than they need to be, or question types more complicated than they need to be. It's not the LSAT is like learning a new language, but
Mhm.
strengthen still means strengthen.
Yeah.
Weaken still means weaken. Some of the assumption things like we just talked about are kind of weird and counterintuitive.
Mhm.
It's based on how our brains work by default. But it's not like you need to hold off on doing anything until you've comprehensively gone through every video in the course, right? There's too
Okay.
much. So I'd say if you're feeling like you're missing something foundational or theoretical, then go to the course library. I've got the foundational section covering all the basics. So you could start
Okay.
there. And then if you want to go deeper, of course, then there are all the full length class recordings also.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. I don't think I have any more questions just because I haven't actually started the tests yet. I know it's back to 4 sections, so I have to add in a random section to just for timing and energy wise, stamina wise. Um, does it matter? Would you recommend anything when you add that 4 section? So I was thinking whatever I need working on, I could just add that section, or should it be randomized in your opinion?
I would ideally randomize it to the point where you don't even know which one it is.
Okay.
If you can swing that, I think that would be
Okay.
the best way to go about it. But you can also set them up in advance. So let's say you set up all your practice tests for the next month. Do that
Mhm.
now so that in week 3 you're not even going to remember which one you added in or what it was.
Okay.
And then that way you can design it such that if you want to focus more on logical reasoning, you can do that.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's perfect. Because I was thinking just seeing where I'm at once I take a couple tests. And then when I'm adding the 4 section, just whatever I need to work on, I can add a little bit more of those than compared to the other ones. And
That's exactly the idea.
that might help just get more reps underneath my belt.
Sweet.
essentially.
Yeah, sounds like a plan.
I don't think I have any more questions, Steve.
Cool. Well, it was great connecting with you, Sukraj.
Yes.
Keep at it, keep putting in the work, and make sure you use the course lesson videos in the library. There's a lot there.
Okay, awesome, Steve. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course.
It's been really helpful, your course.
Of course, my pleasure. I'm glad to help. Keep at it.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Reach out, of course. Reach out if you need anything.
Okay, have a good day, Steve.
Thanks for tuning into the show. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already to be notified of new episodes as I release them. And feel free to reach out if you need anything at all as you move forward with your prep. I'm happy to help however I can. In the meantime, I'll wish you all the best and take care.